Thanks for coming today. When it's big deals that surpass a certain dollar amount, I wear a sport coat. So, man, today's it's when you're able to bring back one of your own as an organization, and now we've done multiple deals with you, but with Chris, but it's so rewarding. It's such a range of emotion. Like a couple nights ago, I was pretty stressed out, and then yesterday when we were able to get it done, basically right after noon, it's just elation on all of our part. You're such a big part of all of us, fans, staff here, players, our families, probably more than you know. You know, just for me, I go home, my kids all ask about you all the time. Are we going to get this done? And so when we get it done, it's personally so satisfying. But I also know that such a humble superstar that you are, selfless person, like just what you've done for our culture, it just makes it that much more satisfying. So thank you, Chris.
And I appreciate you guys coming out as always. And Jason, I appreciate those words, man. It truly means a lot to me. Me and Mariah got here when we were kids. We were just out of college. We're 20 years old. Didn't know a ton about Tampa, but I think we quickly found out that this was a place that we were going to be able to call home. And, over the 8 years since then, we've met a ton of people. We've got to work with a lot of like really, really great people that have made our experience so much better. And I think, when it comes down to making a tough decision like this, I think those are some of the things that like come top of mind. It's family, it's like relationships, it's, being where you want to be, being where people want you. So I couldn't be happier to be coming back. We love Tampa, we love it here. So it's a great day, and I'm looking forward to creating a lot of great memories and chasing more championships.
Chris, you've had the misfortune of having serious injuries, hitting injuries in both of your contract years.
Mm-hmm.
Yet this organization and Jason Light has not let you hit free agency and given you fair market deals both of those times, trusting you in your rehab process. What has that meant to you that this has happened not just once but twice now?
I mean, it really does mean the world to me because, I feel like things like this, they don't just happen, right? Like, for a guy to have gone through what I've been through and, like you said, in 2 contract years, and to be able to get a deal done with the team that they're on, I think is very, very rare. But again, it speaks to, to the type of person that I am, to their trust in me, to their belief in me, and that I'll, put the work in to not only be, the player that I was, but to be better. And I take that very, very seriously. And every time I come into work, I'm trying to be better than I was the day before. And as cliche as that is, I really mean it. And Mariah can attest to that. Like everything I do is around ball. Like it's trying to be the best that I can be and maximize my potential because I recognize how rare this opportunity is. When I was a kid, I would dream about these opportunities. And I think if you told, 14-year-old me that this is where I would be, he'd probably laugh at you because like it just doesn't happen this way. So it really does mean a lot to me.
You had such a difficult year this past year, losing your dad and then the injury. And then, now you're getting to the other side of that and you're getting all these blessings, new contract, and then, of course, an addition to your family. Can you put into words what all of this means for you?
Yeah. 2024 kicked my ass a little bit, but it's that's life, right? Me and Mariah, we talked about this a couple of times, just about I guess like the duality of life and like the peaks and the valleys of it, and we got to see it firsthand in a span of 12 months or really 11 months, where I lost my father, and it was arguably the lowest day of my life. And I spent a lot of time really like reflecting about, the person that he was, the lessons like that he taught me, the things that he had to do for me to be here. And then, a mere 11 months later, we welcomed the biggest blessing of our lives, and all of the things that my dad would tell me and the love that he poured into me, I can already see it. I see this little boy and I just want to give him the world. When he smiles at me, my heart melts. And again, these are all the things that my father kind of poured into me, and I can tell he is our world. And so it's a beautiful thing. I'm grateful, I'm unbelievably grateful.
Just where are you physically, and how different is this? Certainly not the same injury, but
Mm-hmm.
you know the drill.
Yeah.
You will do everything to get ready, but just where are you, and where do you think you expect to be at the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Like you said, it's a different injury than the last one, and these things take time. So, if it's one thing that I've learned is you can't rush the process. You got to make sure that you dot your I's and you cross all your T's to make sure that you're as good as you can be. So that's really what I'm focused on doing. I've never really been somebody that's kind of like put like goals like down in that way, or kind of like, I guess, like deadlines, because I just think like you're too focused on the future and you miss the opportunity that you have right now, right? Like throughout your rehab process, like you have like your peaks, you have your plateaus, you have like, down days. And if you're so focused on the end goal, then you miss the opportunity to work through some of those challenging times,
That you have already played in this offense. Josh Grizzard's the play caller now.
Yeah.
But there is that continuity. You certainly have a rapport with Baker Mayfield. How much does that help if you're not ready for the start of training camp, or at any point, maybe until the start of the season, that you have that base understanding because you've already thrived in the scheme?
I think it helps just in general. Like that familiarity with the people that you're working with, it makes a huge difference. And as somebody that, the last couple of years we've had new coordinators, and they've changed. We've had new offenses to learn, and it's not an easy thing to do. Like there's so many like intricate and like nuanced pieces of an offense that it really helps that we're gonna have a lot of like familiarity with that, and not only in the scheme but in the people that we're working with, because they've had a year of working with us and understanding how we are, like understanding how we communicate, the terminology, understanding how we see the game, and the same thing vice versa. So I think it's going to be a big advantage for us, not just me, but for us like as an offense. So I'm excited about it.
Chris, what was the decision-making process like for you? There are reports out there that there were much bigger offers.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you come back for less money? What were those reasons?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the process.
I think what it boiled down to, honestly, was family and just staying true to who I am. I feel like 9 out of 10 people in this position wouldn't necessarily have made the decision that I did, but I don't do the things that I do based on what other people would do. I trust my gut. I stay true to who I am, and one thing I've never done is made any decisions like solely based on the money. I think I'm fortunate enough to be in this position and to be here at this table again. That's a position that not many people have had. I recognize that, and I'm fortunate in that way. So for me, I had to do what's best for myself. I had to do what's best for our family. I had to do like what we're the most comfortable with, but also like I work with a lot of great people, and those things really are big factors. Enjoying where you work plays a big part in this. Enjoying coming to work, enjoying going in and putting in the time, because like this game is way too tough to just be out there like just winging it. Obviously I've gone through 2 big injuries now. The training camp here is not easy. The NFL was not easy by any means. Like we're the best in the world. Like 32 teams, the best in the world at what we do. So you have to really enjoy doing it, or it's not going to work the same way like that it needs to. So there were a lot of things that factored into it, but those are some of the top ones.
Jason, can you speak to how rare that is from your perspective to have a player? There were reports, $30 million to leave that on the table, and what that means from an organizational standpoint into you.
Yeah, it definitely is rare. Chris is a rare person, though. Like I said before, we use the word upstairs, humble superstar, and we're fortunate to have 2 at that position. And today's Chris's day, but I know Mike and you are so close. They're already, like Nelson showed me a stat, that 5th all-time best duo in terms of receiving yards. I'm sure you know that, but you don't boast about it. 6th in touchdowns, but that'll go up this year. But it's got to be. I'd like to challenge anybody to say that take the combination of talent and the character, the selflessness of a duo that's the best in NFL history and will probably never be repeated. So, that's just the type of person Chris is. And I know you left, and some would say generational money. And, people always give us kudos for betting on Chris, during his injuries, but he and Mariah, they bet on us. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we make it right for you, chase another ring.
Absolutely.
Jason, can you explain how much emphasis do you put on character, the player, as well as, the talent? Because it seems like the last couple of years, you re-sign a lot of players where some other teams are looking to bring in new people.
Well, I don't want to give away our secrets, but we put a lot of emphasis on it. And we have great scouts. And Rob McCartney and Mike Beal do a great job helping the scouts filter the character. So when we meet with the prospects, we have a group. They meet with all the scouts. They'll go to the coaches, and then they'll come into my office when they come through here, and then I'll have Rob and Mike Beal with me. And one of the questions, we always open it up to them at the end. We meet with them for an hour or so, and they said, "Do you have any questions for us?" Yeah. What can I do to be successful? What are some things I can do? And they always point to me, because the spiel I always give is, you'd be like Chris Godwin. And when Chris was a rookie, went over to him during OTAs, and you probably heard this story before, but I said, "Hey, do you got everything taken care of? You could stay in the hotel through training camp." Guys, no, I got my apartment, got my car, got everything squared away. I know where I'm going to take care of this, got my insurance, got it all taken care of before rookie minicamp. And I said, "Well, you're the first person. I mean, you can stay for free in the hotel." Until he goes, "No, I don't want to even think about it. All I want to focus is football." And that's the kind of person we want.
Chris, I know you've gone through this before, and I know you have a lot of confidence in your ability to come back from big injuries. But when you see that this team is willing to guarantee your next 2 years, and that's showing their trust, what does that do for your confidence in your own ability to come back?
Yeah, I think it definitely aids in that. Like you said, I'm fully confident in my ability to make that comeback. Unfortunately or fortunately, and I've had the opportunity to do it once before, but it's just like anything else. It's if I just focus on my process and actually get better each day, then it will take care of itself, right? I think the beautiful thing is the way that this team is set up. We have a ton of playmakers, all over the field. And I think we got a really good, view of that when I got hurt, when Mike got hurt, and, we're still one of the best offenses, in the league. So to me, I look at that as there's a world of opportunities out there, not just for myself, but for all of us. And when we're all healthy, we're going to be, a hell of an offense to try to deal with. And that excites me. No, you're fine.
I know, kind of certain milestones are big in recovering from injuries. I don't know if you're willing to share kind of where, you are in terms of crossing some of those milestones off, or, whether it's running or, the ankle flexibility or things like that.
No, I mean, to be honest, again, I like to keep a lot of those things to the, to the vest. But like I said, I'm right where I need to be, and I'm excited about that. There's, in the beginning of the process, you spend a lot of time on your back. And so, the fact that I'm here, setting up, that's a blessing for me. So I love, all those little victories. And, I'm just excited about this opportunity.
And too, your style of play has always been, as so many of the coaches here have called, grimy. You're very physical, and you're constantly doing stuff in traffic. What is key for you to be able to overcome injuries and still have that kind of production where you're having a lot of contact and things like that? That's not easy to do coming off injuries.
No, it's not easy to. Oh, it's definitely not easy to do coming off injury, but I don't think it's easy to do just in general. But when I get on the field, I don't think about any of that. I'm not approaching any of those moments as how is this going to feel because of what I've been through. I'm there to do my job, and when when the quarterback, like when Baker throws me the ball, like he's trusting me to make the play. You know, the organization is trusting me to make the plays that I make. So when I go out there, I'm really just trying to be the best that I can be. Like that's how I've always approached the game. I'm always trying to be better than I was the previous year, the previous week, the previous game, and that's always served me right. So for me, I don't see any reason to change that mentality despite any injury.
Chris, many teammates have spoken about the impact you've had as a leader on this team throughout the years, whether it's helping out young receivers or just being there every day at OTAs.
Yeah.
What inspires you or motivates you to take on that role for this team?
I think it's just who I am, like as a person. I don't think I've ever like walked in anywhere and was like, I'm a leader. Like I think I'm just a genuine person, and I try to just help people wherever I see that I can. There have been a lot of people that have poured into me over the course of my life and my career and have given me like small and large like bits of advice that have impacted me in a way that's got me to this point. And the way I see it is you never really, hey, are you okay, sir? It's okay, buddy. The way I see it is you never know what like piece of advice is gonna impact somebody's life. Like I look at specifically like our young receivers, and like they give me a ton of like hope and inspiration because like I see myself in them. Like they're freshly here and trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to carve out a career, try to take advantage of an opportunity. And so when I see them working on things and I feel like I can like say something to help, I want to give them that advice. Because again, like the things that people pour into me, I don't see it as like advice that I just hold secret. Like that's how you further the game. Like somebody gives you advice, you apply it. When the opportunity comes for you to give it to somebody else, you pass that along, and then they apply it, and then the cycle continues itself. So that's how I've always viewed it.
Part question on some young Buccaneers. First of all, this is the first time we've had the chance to speak to you since Josh Grizzard became the new offensive coordinator and play caller. And then you got to see over the second half of the season, unfortunately from the sidelines, but just the development of Jalen McMillan. If you can comment on those two.
Yeah, two great guys. Like Grizz, firstly, Grizz has been a phenomenal addition, to our team. And I think I realized that very early on. Like you can see that, like throughout the OTA process. Like, he's incredibly smart. I think he's somebody that I don't think he has much of an ego about him. And for an intelligent guy like him to not have an ego, it means like he's open to ideas from other people. Because this game is largely a collaborative effort. It's like if you can take bits and pieces from the rest of your coaching staff, from players, even from other teams, and apply it in the right way, I think that's how you create something special. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be incredibly successful because of the way that he approaches it. Like every time I see Grizz, I'm like, hey man, like have you gone home? Like he just loves ball, and like you can tell that he really, really like puts his all into it. So like those are the kind of guys that you want to be around. Those are the kind of guys that you want to work with. And then as far as Jalen goes, man, the way that he turned it on the end of the season, it was amazing. Like it was crazy to see. Like I feel like I've never seen anybody have so many wide open touchdowns. Like it was unreal to see. But like his growth from the beginning of the season to the end, and just his level of comfort was like, it was very cool. I'm extremely excited about his future, about like what he can turn into, because like he's really a great kid. I say kid, and that's like I'm 29 years old. What am I talking about? But he's a great guy. And it's funny enough, when he got here, one of the first things he said to me was like, I can't believe I'm on the team with Chris Godwin. I was like, what are you talking about? Like man, I feel like I just got here. Like I'm a kid just like him. And he was just like so eager and like asking me questions. And again, like I was saying earlier, like I'm happy to give advice. So to see him be able to bloom the way he did at the end of the year, it really makes me excited for the contribution that he can give this upcoming season.
Thanks you a lot too for developing a catcher team for him with the jugs machine in season, and then also with setting the expectations. I guess before the playoffs, you sent him a very long text message. These are the expectations. Like he points to you and says you're a big part of his success.
Well, I would say I'm a small part of it, but I felt kind of like that responsibility for a young guy in our room. And again, I saw him; he was ascending, and I saw the work that he was putting in. And I feel like sometimes you just need to know that that somebody believes in you. And I know he has a bunch of people in his corner. Like, he has a great family, like the coaching staff, they believe in him. But I want him to know that even from afar, that I was watching and still supporting him. And I'm pleased with how Jalen has been progressing. Like, he's a great guy, and I'm excited about him.
How much of a factor?
Comparatively speaking, at least with this contract, going through all the re-signings that you've had, how stressful was this one compared to a bunch of other re-signings you've had? And then also, just what does it mean for this team that ranked top 5 last season on offense to have its entire starting group back next season?
Well, the latter part of that question, it's very exciting to have everybody back. And, we still have a lot of off-season to go, a draft. There's a lot of time before the season starts to make some additions too. So that was very important to all of us to have some continuity, starting with Josh, Todd hiring Josh, and us keeping our coaches, offensive line coaches, everybody, receivers coach. I could name them all. We're so lucky to have all of them. So we're very excited about that. And I forgot the first part of your question because I'm so excited that I'm sitting next to Chris.
Stress related to these negotiations versus some of the other re-signings.
They all have a unique aspect to them. But anytime you're vested, like, there are certain players on this team right now that you have Levante and Mike and Chris, I would put on the Mount Rushmore right now have been here for 8 years and longer and are pivotal to our culture of our team. And when you have players like that and there's a little angst that you're not going to be able to keep them or you're hoping you can, it takes on a little bit, I hate to admit it, but get a little bit emotional about it and a little bit extra stressed. I'm supposed to stand here before fans and say I don't get stressed and I have ice in my veins, but I don't. It's an emotional time. So it took everything out of me to not be texting Chris, and it'd be like texting your girlfriend, when you're in college. But my wife had to say, "Don't push him, don't push him." So anyway, when it got over with, it was an awesome moment. But they take on a little life of their own. But anytime it's a person like Chris, it's a little bit extra.
Blair was giving you negotiation advice?
Blair's very good at negotiating. She played a big, yeah.
The truth comes out.
Chris, I want to ask you, how much of a factor having Baker Mayfield and not going somewhere and having to know a new quarterback, did he play a little bit into your decision with Baker Mayfield, you being here with Baker again?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that was one of the major factors for us. I've been fortunate enough to be able to build a great relationship with Big, and you guys have seen him over the last 2 years. He's a great guy. And what you guys see, that is who he is, which is why we, gravitate towards him so much. Just he's one of the guys. So he had an unbelievable season last year, and those are the types of things that we, believe in that he'll continue to do. So for me, having a quarterback that you trust, that obviously that plays a big factor. And so I would say I played a role.
And the running attack, too? Because that Baker was saying it all starts with the running attack, and we got such a running attack now.
It absolutely does. An offense without a running game, it's very tough to be a successful offense without a running game. When you're one-dimensional, regardless of how talented you are at quarterback and at receiver, it makes it extremely tough. And, you ask me, we have one of the best running games in the league.
Jason gets credit for being a bit of an offensive line guru when it comes to the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's one thing for a general manager to draft the greatest wide receiver in franchise history, but I don't know if any that have drafted the top 2. What does that say about his eye for wide receiver talent? And to have that special attribute to his resume, drafting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in very short order.
Good help.
Yeah, I feel like they as a staff, they do a really, really good job of evaluating talent. And again, it's you see it like by how many guys we have that are drafted here and continue to be here long term. It's a very tough thing to do, clearly, right? Like everybody doesn't hit on their draft picks. So I mean, I think it just speaks to the level of detail that the staff goes through, the types of people that they're also looking for as well, that have to fit a certain mold. But I think I was telling Mariah this not too long ago, but I feel like we're going to look back on this time period, like specifically to your question, like me and Mike, I feel like we're going to look back on this time period like a decade from now and realize like how special of a time it was, because it's, to your point, it's very rare to have, you know, two guys that operate the way that we do, like, you know, with the abilities that we have, and to be on the same team for this long. It's something that I'm extremely proud of, something that I'm extremely fortunate to be a part of. And I've told Mike that a bunch of times. Like, it's been an honor to be, you know, his running mate for the last 8 years, and now we get to continue to do it. So, again, always grateful.
There's not many Buccaneers, well, I should say there's 4 guys in the Hall of Fame that have a Super Bowl ring, right? You are one of a handful of the current Buccaneers that also have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
But this organization hasn't had a team that has won 2. And what would it be like for you and Mike and the select few, Tristan, and a couple of others, that could possibly win 2 Super Bowl rings? How hungry are you for another ring?
Oh, I'm extremely hungry for it. That, to me, it does not make sense to do this if you're not in it to win a championship. It's, again, way too difficult. We put way too much in it. We spend way too much time away from our families. We put our bodies through way too much to be in this, to not try to win a championship. Like, everything that we do is in pursuit of that. So to be able to accomplish that, it would mean the world to us. The first one was amazing. Boat parade, pretty sick. You know, I would love to do that again, and also just to have a lot of guys, like, not just the ones that have experienced it, but the guys that haven't gotten to experience it. You know, like Baker Mayfield works his ass off. I would love for him to be able to experience winning the Super Bowl, and, you know, and the things that come with that. Like,
that would be something to see him at a boat
That would
parade.
be something. That would be something to see, huh?
Yeah, the trophy wouldn't. It would be in the water.
It would be in the water, and he might dive after it too.
Yeah.
But like, again. So that is always the goal. Like, that's always the focus. Like, you know, after we, you know, agreed on the deal, Jason texted me, you know, congratulating me and like welcome me back, and I was like, let's go chase this thing again. Like, that was my exact sentiment, because that is my focus.
What was the conversation then like with Baker, letting him know that you were coming back, and Mike that you
Yeah.
were coming back?
It was it was as Baker likes to say, excellent news for his team and him. It's like a little joke that he has running, but he FaceTimed me and overjoyed. He happened to be with Tristan too, which is unsurprising. So we all got to kind of
They
like
sent me a
chat a
text
little
at the
bit.
same time too.
Yeah,
And a few words I couldn't say here.
Yeah, but it was great news for all involved. Like, I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that they're happy to have me here. Glad that my teammates feel the way that they do about me. Like, a lot of things that I really care about.
What have you learned about yourself during this rehab process? Every rehab process is
It's
so
very
different.
Yeah, everyone is very different. I don't know if I've necessarily learned a ton more about myself, more so as, like, I've been saying this has been a patient season in my life, between being, like, going through this rehab and having a newborn. Like, you can't rush anything, and despite whatever you think is going to happen or what you want to happen, like, you have to be patient. You have to be where your feet are. You have to experience whatever you're going through now. And, like, I like to look at things as, like, helping you for the future. Like, whatever tough thing I'm going through now is going to help me with some kind of adversity down the road. That's been true most of my life. So that's how I continue to approach it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Hope y'all be safe, man.